Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine for a moment that today was your last day on this planet. No warning, no preparation. Just you standing face to face with eternity. And then you realize there were books you never wrote, songs you never sang, businesses you never started, people you never forgave, dreams you never chased, and all those possibilities, they die with you. That is the most painful tragedy in life, not death itself, but dying without ever living. You see, too many of us live as though we have forever. We scroll, we wait, we put things off until next year, own day, when the time is right. Let me tell you something, tomorrow is not promised. The cemetery is full of people who thought they had more time. Life is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get to come back and do it over. You have one shot, this shot, and the clock is ticking. Ask yourself, am I living my life on purpose, or am I just going through the motions? Because if you don't live your purpose, you are simply existing, and existence without purpose is slow death. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out, to make a mark, to leave something that whispers to the world, I was here. Your purpose is not just about you. Somebody is waiting on you to step into your gift. Somebody's breakthrough is tied to your obedience. Somebody's healing, somebody's hope, somebody's future is connected to you, being bold enough to walk in your calling. Don't die full, de-empty. Pour out everything inside you. Give the world your best work, your best effort, your best love, your best courage before it's too late. So today, I challenge you, don't wait, don't hesitate, don't procrastinate. Get up, get moving, and live the life you were created for. Because the only thing scarier than death is reaching the end of your life and realizing you never really lived. We all know that death is inevitable. It is the one appointment every single one of us must keep. You don't need to check your calendar, it's already marked. No matter how much money you have, no matter your status, no matter your power, one day, life as we know it will come to an end. That is not the tragedy. The real heartbreak is not that our lives will end, but that so many of us will reach that day without ever having truly lived. Think about it, how many people are alive but not living? They wake up, they go to jobs they hate. They stay in relationships that suffocate them. They carry dreams in their hearts that never see the light of day. They go through the motions day after day, waiting for the weekend, waiting for retirement, waiting for some magical someday that never comes. And then, when the end arrives, regret weighs heavier than the coffin. The greater tragedy is dying with your dreams still inside you. The unwritten books, the unspoken words, the unsung songs, the businesses never started. The ideas never tried, buried in the cemetery of potential. That's why they say the graveyard is the richest place on earth. It's where so many gifts, talents, and inventions lie, never released because someone was too afraid, too distracted, or too doubtful to live boldly. And let's be clear, living is not the same as breathing. Breathing is automatic, but living is intentional. Living means getting out of your comfort zone. Living means risking embarrassment, failure, and rejection for the chance to taste freedom and fulfillment. Living means stepping into the unknown because you know deep down you were meant for more than mediocrity. The tragedy is that many people spend their entire existence just breathing, never once stepping into real living. It hurts to think about how much time we waste. We act like we have an unlimited supply of days, as if tomorrow is guaranteed, but it isn't. Every single day that passes is a day we can never get back. You can earn back money, you can repair a broken car, you can even rebuild a relationship, but you can never ever get back time. And when you realize that, you begin to see how costly it is to drift through life without purpose. So yes, death is inevitable, but the real loss, the gut-wrenching, soul-crushing loss, is to die without ever having experienced the fullness of who you are and what you were capable of becoming. It is not the end of life that should scare us. It's the possibility of reaching that end and realizing we never truly lived. We live our lives as if tomorrow is guaranteed. We tell ourselves, I'll start next week, I'll try next month, I'll chase my dream when the timing is better. But here's the hard truth. Tomorrow is not promised to you, to me, or to anyone. Life has no guarantee card that says you will see the sun rise again. The only moment you truly own is the one you are in right now. That's why delaying your purpose is one of the most dangerous decisions you could ever make. So many people live in the comfort of someday. Someday I'll go back to school. Someday I'll write my book. Someday I'll start my business. But someday is a thief. It robs you of the urgency to act. Someday is nothing more than a false promise that makes procrastination feel comfortable. And if you're not careful, someday becomes never. You blink, years pass by, and all you're left with is a pile of excuses. The truth is, life changes in an instant. One phone call can alter the direction of your entire future. One accident, one diagnosis, one unexpected moment can remind you that time is fragile and fleeting. And when you realize that you can no longer afford the luxury of waiting, the dreams you've been putting off for later need to be pursued now. Because later may not come. When you understand that tomorrow is not promised, it changes how you move today. Suddenly, excuses don't feel as comfortable. Fear doesn't feel as powerful. You stop worrying about who's watching, who's judging, who's doubting. You begin to recognize that if you're alive today, you've been given another chance to act, not to plan endlessly, not to keep talking about it, but to do something today. You must understand that waiting for the perfect time is an illusion. There will always be reasons why now doesn't feel convenient, too busy, too broke, too tired, too unprepared. But every master, every innovator, every trailblazer began when things weren't perfect. They acted in the midst of uncertainty. They moved forward even when they were scared. And because they did, they created opportunities that never would have existed if they had waited. So if tomorrow is not promised, then today is the most powerful day of your life. What you do now matters more than what you plan to do later. The choice is yours. Will you keep pushing your dreams into an uncertain tomorrow, or will you seize the gift of today and start living the life you were created for? Life is not a rehearsal. You don't get a second act where you can come back and redo the lines you forgot or replay the scenes you messed up. This is it. The real stage, the real performance, the one and only opportunity to show up and give everything you've got. Too often we treat life like practice, as though we'll get another chance to come back and live again. But this is not practice, this is the main event. And every single day you waste is a day you will never get back. Think about how much differently people would live if they truly believed this was their one shot. You'd see fewer excuses and more action. You'd see less fear and more courage. You'd see people pursuing their dreams with urgency because they would understand there's no later. Yet too many people spend their days waiting for permission, waiting for the stars to align, waiting for someone else to validate their dreams, as if the curtain will rise again and give them another chance. But there is no encore for the life you never lived. When you recognize that life is not a rehearsal, you begin to treat every moment as precious. The way you spend your time changes, the way you talk to people changes. Suddenly, you realize that you don't have time to hold grudges, you don't have time to waste in bitterness, and you don't have time to invest in things that drain you. Every day becomes a performance where you get to decide will you leave the stage with applause or with silence. And let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. It's not about always knowing your lines or never missing a step. It's about giving yourself fully to the role you've been assigned in this one life. Some people will laugh, some will criticize, some will misunderstand you. But none of that matters if you know that you gave your best while you had the chance. Because once the curtain closes, the story is over. We all like to think we'll live to be old, that we'll have time to figure things out, that we'll get a chance to make things right later. But how many people thought the same thing and never made it to that later? Life is fragile. It doesn't hand out guarantees. That's why wasting today is such a tragedy. Every time you put off your purpose, every time you silence your dream, every time you play small, you're throwing away pieces of the only shot you'll ever get. So if life is not a rehearsal, then it demands your full presence right now. It demands your courage, your commitment, and your creativity today. You can't keep waiting backstage. The lights are already on, the audience is already watching, and the clock is already ticking. The only question is, what will you do with the role you've been given in this one and only performance? There is a massive difference between existing and truly living. Existing means you wake up, go through your routine, eat, sleep, and repeat. It's survival, doing just enough to make it through another day. But truly living is something entirely different. Truly living is waking up with a reason, a fire, and a mission. It's when your days are fueled by purpose, not just by habit. Too many people confuse breathing with living, but let me tell you, breathing keeps you alive. Purpose makes life worth living. Purpose is what gives meaning to the struggle. Without it, challenges feel like punishment. But when you have a sense of direction, even pain feels like progress. Think about it: climbing a mountain without knowing why feels like torture. But climbing that same mountain because you're chasing a dream, because you know there's something worth reaching at the top, that transforms suffering into strength. Purpose doesn't take away the difficulty of life, but it makes the difficulty worth enduring. When you lack purpose, your life becomes an endless cycle of distractions. You chase money, possessions, and temporary pleasures, hoping they'll fill the emptiness inside, but they never do. You can have a big house, a nice car, and a full bank account, yet still feel completely empty inside. Why? Because fulfillment doesn't come from things, it comes from living in alignment with your purpose. Without it, no amount of stuff can make you feel alive. On the other hand, when you discover and live your purpose, even ordinary days feel extraordinary. You stop living on autopilot. You wake up with clarity and direction. Suddenly, small moments of meaning, conversations of depth, work feels like contribution rather than obligation. That's the difference purpose makes. It transforms the same 24 hours that everyone else gets into something richer, something fuller, something powerful. Purpose also gives you resilience when life knocks you down, and it will. Purpose is what pushes you to get back up. People without purpose quit easily. They give up at the first sign of resistance because they have no anchor, no reason to keep fighting. But people with purpose, they endure, they adapt, they overcome, because they know their lives are tied to something bigger than themselves. They know that their existence has value beyond the momentary pain. So yes, purpose is the dividing line between merely existing and truly living. One is about getting through life, the other is about pouring life into every moment. One leaves you empty, the other leaves you fulfilled. And once you experience the difference, you'll never again be satisfied with just existing. Procrastination is the silent dream killer. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention. It whispers, "I'll do it tomorrow," and slowly, without you even realizing it, it steals years from your life. Failure is not what destroys most dreams. People who fail at least tried. They put themselves in the arena, they took action, and they learned something in the process. But procrastination, it keeps you from ever stepping into the arena in the first place. And you cannot win a race you never run. The danger of procrastination is that it feels harmless. You don't feel like you're giving up. You just tell yourself you'll start later. But every time you delay, you're making a decision. You're choosing comfort over courage, distraction over discipline, excuses over execution. And the scariest part is that you don't feel the damage immediately. It's not like falling off a cliff. It's like erosion, slow and steady, until one day you look back and realize you've lost years to waiting. Failure at least gives you feedback. When you fail, you learn what doesn't work. You build resilience, you sharpen your skills. Failure moves you forward because it teaches you something valuable. But procrastination teaches you nothing. It gives you no lessons, no growth, no progress, just the illusion of safety while your dream collects dust. That's why procrastination is more dangerous than failure. It robs you of experience and with it the chance to grow. Think of how many brilliant ideas never saw the light of day because someone said, "I'll start tomorrow." How many businesses never launched? How many books never got written? How many lives never got touched? Not because of failure, but because of procrastination. The world is not short of dreamers, it's short of doers. And the difference between the two is simple: doers act, dreamers delay. And here's the truth: procrastination is not a time problem, it's a decision problem. You will never find time. You must make time. The question is not whether you're busy, everyone is busy. The question is, will you prioritize what matters? Will you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start with what you have where you are right now? Because if you don't, procrastination will always win. So remember this: failure won't destroy your dream. In fact, failure might shape it, strengthen it, and even sharpen it. But procrastination, it will smother your dream before it ever takes its first breath. It is the quiet assassin of greatness, and the only way to beat it is to take action today. Your gift is not meant to stay locked inside you. It was never designed to serve only you. Every single person walking this earth has something unique, an ability, a perspective, a talent, a calling that was placed in them not just for their own benefit, but for the benefit of others. When you hold back your gift, you're not only robbing yourself, you're robbing the world of something it desperately needs. Someone out there is waiting on you to step into your purpose. Think about it: the books you haven't written, the businesses you haven't started, the songs you haven't sung. Those things could be the exact answers to someone else's prayers. Someone is stuck waiting for the solution that only you can provide. Someone is looking for the encouragement that only your words can give. Someone is waiting for the invention, the idea, the breakthrough that only your mind can create. Your gift is bigger than you. It's connected to destinies you may never even see. Too often, people think their lives are too small to matter. They say, "Who am I to make a difference?" But that's the wrong question. The real question is, who am I to withhold what I've been given? You don't know the ripple effect of your courage. You don't know how far your impact will travel. What feels ordinary to you might be extraordinary to someone else. What feels small to you might be the exact spark that ignites transformation in another person's life. And here's the truth: somebody is waiting on you to move, and they don't even know it yet. Your courage could inspire someone else's courage. Your breakthrough could unlock someone else's breakthrough. Your faith could fuel someone else's faith. When you rise, you give others permission to rise. When you shrink back, you don't just cheat yourself. You cheat the people whose future is tied to your obedience. This is why it's so important to stop playing small. When you play small, you may think you're just protecting yourself from failure or embarrassment, but in reality, you're holding back the very thing someone else needs to move forward. The teacher who never teaches, the healer who never heals, the leader who never leads. These are people who keep their gifts buried while the world cries out for what they could have given. Your gift is a responsibility, not just a privilege. It was entrusted to you to serve, to uplift, to build, to heal, to inspire. And until you begin to live from that perspective, you'll always underestimate the importance of what you carry, because your gift is not just for you. Somebody's future, somebody's healing, somebody's hope is depending on it.